on lunch with me, Kelly Ransom, and my friends. I think this is week like 4 or something. I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to pull up here. Rick says hello today. He's in a very hairball kind of mood, so if you hear something weird, I'm sorry. I'm coming to you live on Facebook from Boston, Massachusetts. And I started this show broadcast thing to pass the time and to keep me showered and to keep me honest and keep me functioning during the lockdown, which we find out in Boston today when it's going to get extended to. I did this so that I could share people's different stories of lockdown and kind of keep them in a vault so that we can all look back in 20 years and be like, whoa, that was weird. So this week I'm continuing sharing stories of different states because I think it's really cool to hear how it went down in other states and just hear other people's experiences. So I would like to welcome today Hannah Weinstein. Woo! She is in Southern California, and she is a union side labor lawyer. I'm fixing my camera because the cat's gone. And I've known her for I don't even know how many years. How many years do you think?
Like 20? Like 18 or 20?
Stop.
Isn't that crazy?
No.
Because like we were 60s, right? Yeah. I'm right about that, right?
Oh my god. Okay, so Hannah and I have known each other for 20 years. I can't even.
Yeah, we're in our 30s, lady. Like, it's happening.
I was still in denial. I'm like, oh, 2005 looked like 10 years ago.
I know, me too.
But it wasn't. Whatever. So I must ask you, what day is it?
It's Tuesday. I'm pretty
sure.
Yes.
You're crushing this. And you're not on this coast, so what time is it?
It's a little bit past 9 o'clock.
Ooh, is this early for you, or are you normally up?
I'm a morning person, so I'm usually up. Yeah.
Good. I don't feel bad.
You shouldn't feel bad.
Some of my other coasters that I'm having on, I feel like I'm waking up.
No.
Early.
I woke up at 6 a.m. today. You're fine. I've been up for hours.
Oh, woo! I have so much energy today. So I would love to know, and I'm sure everyone else watching would love to know how it went down for you in Southern California with the whole pandemic lockdown.
Yeah, so came to the West Coast early. We're finding out even earlier than we thought. So yeah, I think they this week published something saying like the first confirmed cases or the first cases that were COVID-19 were actually like in February or like weeks earlier than they thought.
Yeah.
So for me, I think there were rumblings we saw up north that things were getting serious and there was probably going to be a lockdown like maybe around like March 10th or a few days earlier than that. And so for me, I had a court date on like Thursday. I think it was like, I'm going to look at a calendar. March 12th. So
okay,
I was
that's about the same time for everyone else.
Yeah, I was in court the morning of March 12th. And by that afternoon, when I'd come back to my office, our office was like, yeah, how about some people start working from home? This doesn't seem good. So I started working from home, but that weekend I like went out to one restaurant. And then that Monday, I think I had another like call with a judge that I went into our office for. But I think on Tuesday or soon after that was when like statewide, like the 17th, statewide or at least countywide, they were like, Californians, go back home, don't leave, like it's not happening for you. So I've kind of been like sheltering in place since the afternoon of March 12th, but like officially since March 17th. So it's been a while. Yeah.
How has your life changed?
It's changed a lot.
Really?
We chose the apartment that we live in because it's like walking distance to my work and a gym and like all our grocery stores and like all these restaurants and bars. So we were like, we downsized from a 2-bedroom to like a pretty small 1-bedroom. And we were like, we don't care because we'll be able to go out and do all these things
Right,
and
you're working all
everything
the
will
time.
be great. Like, it's not like we're going to have to be at home all the time. And now we're at home all the time. So that has been an adjustment.
Is your husband also working from home?
Hmm?
Is your husband also working from home?
He is kind of, for him, it wasn't as big of a change because he's been teaching college courses down in San Diego, actually, for the last few years. But this term, he wasn't teaching courses. He's just been kind of like working on his own stuff. So he was kind of already just like working from home with his research and writing. So for him, it's not too different, except, just not being able to like go out like we normally would.
Yeah. So how do you work? What do you do?
That's
Like,
a great question. TBD in some ways. A lot of the work that I do is like writing and research and talking to people about like whatever issues they're having. So, besides the fact that I'm not like really having meetings in person, it wasn't uncommon before for me to talk with people over the phone. Just because, the people that I work with, the like workers that I end up representing can be spread out pretty geographically. So that hasn't been too different, although it's been sad to not have like any meetings in person, especially because there were like a lot of clients or workers that I would meet with in person.
Right.
Lawyering is like pretty conducive to just sitting behind a screen, and that's a lot of what I did anyways. But this week on Thursday, I'm going to have my first like full-on hearing by telephone, where I'm representing like a group of like 13 laid-off workers. So I don't love doing that by telephone. I just got a ruling actually from the judge yesterday where he was like, we had a telephone call before the hearing with the judge, and he was like, Ms. Weinstein objected vigorously, but I'm overruling her objection. And I was like, oh, thank you, Judge.
Is it at least a Zoom? Is it a video at least, or?
No, they're not even trying to set it up by video. So these are just like these are actually teachers. They're like regular layperson teachers who've like never been in a legal proceeding before in their lives. And they're going to be testifying like over the phone to a bunch of people they can't see. It doesn't seem great.
No.
But we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We'll see what happens. So that's the part that I think will be hardest to do by phone, but it's kind of like a lot of the work I'm doing is either the same or anything that otherwise would be happening in person. Like some of my other hearings are just delayed until later, and we're hopeful that at some point things will go back to normal a little bit.
They just extended California, right?
California has been extended. So first it went like March 15th or 16th to April 15th. And then as it's getting closer to mid-April, they've now extended it to May 15th. And I think it sounds like they're going to extend it again, but maybe there will be some things that will, that they won't need to be like shut down or shut down as seriously. But schools are closed for the rest of the school year.
Same here.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in hearing, and I'm sure everyone watching now or later is interested in hearing. You are a union side labor lawyer. What is that?
So I work at a small law firm where pretty much all we do is the legal work for unions and their members and workers who are trying to unionize. So that's like everything. That means if you're a unionized worker, you probably have a contract that gives you rights if you're terminated. Represent you in that termination hearing. If you're workers who are trying to unionize with one of our clients, there can be like all kinds of legal proceedings around that process. So we represent the union and those workers in that process. That can mean whenever a union is somehow involved in litigation, it wants to bring litigation against an employer for their practices, or I've had like crazy employers who sue unions because they're unionizing a workplace.
That's illegal, though, isn't it?
What?
Is it like illegal?
It's not illegal. Great question. One of the first cases I worked on when I got to our firm was that a business had sued a union under like the anti like racketeering laws, like basically the anti-mafia laws, because the union was trying to unionize, and it was like, that's crazy. And we won. We got the case dismissed.
That's crazy.
But it's crazy, yeah. So we do like all of that legal work, and then just like random advice, right? Like all of this crazy stuff has come down with COVID-19. And so not only are we getting questions about, what is happening and what are my rights in terms of paid leave and all of that, but we're helping these unions negotiate, and we're helping them with like all of their weird questions having to do with COVID-19 to the extent that we can, if anything has to do, with like legal issues. So
I bet a lot of places are wanting to unionize now that they're
it's really interesting.
essential.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm trying to, like there's actually been a lot of activity on like the grocery store front.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking.
yeah, nothing that I'm working on, but like there's a Twitter feed now for Trader Joe's workers trying to unionize. And I think there's been like a unionizing campaign at Whole Foods for many years, but that has like reemerged in this moment. And that's like a great example of the difference that a union makes, right? Because we represent a local that like represents grocery store workers in Southern California.
Yeah.
Like, because of their union, they were able to quickly advocate for and get a whole lot of safety measures being implemented even before the CDC recommended them, more pay, ability to use paid leave if anyone is scared to come into work or does feel sick. And so, that's like, okay, when you have a union, you can like negotiate for it and get all these things. And then you have, I can't speak to it, but like this Twitter feed about, Trader Joe's is talking about like people feeling really neglected in terms of making sure they're like getting the health protections that they need and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's really interesting. Though I think the Whole Foods and Trader Joe's employees are calling for a strike this Friday, May 1st.
Oh, wow.
Don't go shopping at those places on those days. But yeah, so yeah, it's cool.
I love it. So I know there are people who know why unions are important watching, but why would you say unions are important?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's like the only way to have any kind of real power with your boss is the short version. I think, a lot of us think maybe because of what good workers we are and good people and maybe our education or whatever it might be, that like our boss isn't going to treat us bad, or like we're all on the same team or that sort of thing. But ultimately, just like under the law, employers have way, way, way more power than their employees do. And so it's the way to equalize that a little bit, to have some real representation, so that you can advocate, you and your coworkers can advocate for what you need in the workplace or what you want in the workplace. And I think it ultimately becomes, a boon for everyone, right? Like an employer with happier workers who don't just want to leave is going to have an easier time with like retaining its workforce and having a hardworking workforce and all of that. Than if you have people who are just like scared and feel abused and not a good situation.
How did you get into this?
That's a good question. The other shirt I was thinking of wearing was a shirt that actually my mom had, which says, "My husband is a local 40 carpenter," because my dad was a member of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, local 40.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so this was before you met me, but for like the first 20 years of his career, my dad was a union carpenter, and then he switched to being a teacher, like when I was in elementary school. And my mom was always like relatively involved with the teachers union, with the Massachusetts Teachers Association.
Yeah.
So it had like kind of been a part of my life, although maybe not like the biggest thing that I noticed in my childhood. But when I went to law school, I like knew I really wanted to do public interest work. I wanted to try out workers' rights. And so in law school, I kind of like the first summer internship I got with workers' rights. And that just led me into this world, and I stuck with it, and I really love it. And I think it's great.
I'm so happy that you're doing it. I am a lifelong baby child of Teamsters Local 25. So
Yes.
this makes me so happy. I love that you're doing this work. I didn't say that I was going to ask you this beforehand, but I got to know, like, if someone's watching right now and they're not in California, just in a broad sense, and they're working somewhere that they would like to unionize, what are like some of the few first steps that they could take to start that?
Yeah. So I would say it's always the best when you just start by talking to your coworkers, right?
Yes.
You're like, hey, how's it going? Are you freaked out by anything? Like, how are you feeling? What would you like to do? Because that's how it always starts, right? It always starts with like the coworkers themselves wanting to make a change and being interested. And just kind of dreaming about what a better workplace could be, which I think can actually be really hard to do. Like some of us get so used to bad workplaces that it can be hard to even like envision, wow, I could ask for X, Y, or Z and that could happen for me. So one, just like talking to your coworkers about that. And that, but if you're kind of beyond that point, I would say just like, you can do some light Googling about your industry and local unions, like grocery store worker, Boston union, and you can find out the names of the unions that represent those kinds of workers and like reach out to them. Like most unions have organizers where what they're doing is just talking to workers interested in organizing and then helping you build up your skill set in terms of like, how do I talk to my coworkers? How do we formally do this? So yeah, that's what I would say. And I would also say, like, to the extent that you think your employer has explicitly said, like, you're not supposed to be talking with your coworkers, like, about this kind of stuff, probably illegal, very likely illegal.
That's illegal.
So, feel protected when you want to talk with your coworkers about how things are going and what you would want to see change and how your workplace could be better.
In a secret, completely other, different Kelly life, I always wanted to be a union organizer or like a business agent.
You would be so good at it.
I would love to do that. I've never actually been in a union myself, though. I've just been the product of people around the union.
Well, nonprofit workers can unionize, which is something that I did not know when I worked at nonprofits.
I didn't know that either until recently.
Yeah, attorneys can unionize as long as you're not a supervisor or a manager. Like professionals are allowed to unionize. And then if you're a government employee, it depends on the state. But in many more left-wing states like Massachusetts or like California, you also have a right to unionize.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So my mother-in-law is in I think it's the people who work for BPS are all in the same union, I think, but she's in the union, and then Christopher is in Local 26 at the restaurant hospitality union. So I'm just like living vicariously through them and now through you. So you've worked with people on how to talk with their bosses, and how have you been advising workers to negotiate with their bosses for things during all this?
I mean, I think like the great thing is just that when you're unionized, you have a right to, and when you're not unionized, you don't, right? So when you're unionized, if there's any change in your working conditions, you have a right to ask your employers to bargain over the effects of that. So you can say, okay, like there's a closure, or, give us a week to like, you send us all of the stuff we need to work remotely and give us training about how to do it and like all of that. So
That's
I think
really smart. I wish we did that.
Yeah. So I think it's just like, I think one is just knowing that you have the right to do it and then talking about, okay, what are all of the potential problems that we can see and how would we try and fix them preemptively or proactively? So I've been thinking a lot about like teachers. We represent a lot of teachers and professors. And so that's like exactly what they did. They were like, okay, let's move up spring break and like give the teachers a week so that everyone can get their, get the goods that they need in order to teach, maybe have a couple of days of training. Let's make sure that evaluations that are used this year, or that evaluations like aren't done this year, or that nothing comes of any evaluations done this year. Because how crappy would it be that you've been like an in-classroom teacher for 20 years and now all of a sudden you're getting evaluated like 2 weeks into remote teaching for the first time, right? So like, oh, that's a crappy situation. Let's negotiate so like the evaluations, are put off until we're back in the classroom again. And like I said, I think a lot of essential workers or people that are still going into work are definitely trying to negotiate for like more paid leave, but both for themselves in case they get sick, but also because a lot of them have childcare responsibilities and their kids are now home all the time. So it's like, okay, how can I get more leave? Yay that Congress passed some laws about this and gave us something, but like, let's get more than that. Let's like make sure that we feel like we're in a good situation. So, that's what we've been talking with people with and giving them advice, and we'll see. I think everyone's scared of like a recession, and that will also
that's definitely
some bargaining. So but it's just really about like at least having the right to negotiate over it, so you have some control over it. So it's not just like, here's my boss making a decision about how this is going to go down. In an emergency situation, bosses do have rights to, even if you're unionized, to make some decisions about what needs to change, but they have to negotiate a little bit about how it's going to get done. And so just talking through that and the possibilities that are really coming from the employees themselves and what's going to make them feel comfortable with the changes.
I want to shout out my dad, Jack, and Billy Reno, who are watching and commenting a lot right now. They're super excited.
Yay! I couldn't figure out if there would be like an okay way for me to also be on Facebook during this, so I'll just let you control.
My phone. I have like a next to me, and then this is my lap. So my little setup. One more thing before we pivot into completely different topic area. When people hear negotiate, sometimes they think, pay raise or money increase. Do you think that it's appropriate right now for workers to negotiate increases in their rates?
Look, I think it's always appropriate to ask what's going to happen, right? Like, you don't get something you don't ask for, first of all. And as gross as it is to think about, there are certainly industries that are booming right now. The grocery store industry is booming right now. You know what I mean? They're making more money. So why isn't it the case that like Trader Joe's employees or whomever should, reap some of the benefits of that when they're putting their lives truly on the line?
At risk.
I think it's always fine to ask. So
right. Just wanted some advice.
Especially if you have a good sense of like the finances of your organization and how that works. I think there are at least some organizations where it looks like their finances are getting better or are stable because the government has kind of agreed that there's going to be some kind of bailout. And so it's like, well, if that's the case, one of the things that we were talking to a lot with people working in school districts was the governor of California protected their funding for this school year. So everyone was like, oh, we're afraid the district is going to start laying off people in March. And we were like, no, your funding is protected. Don't let them do that. That's some BS, know? So
yeah. So Christopher, he's at I probably shouldn't even say, but he's a union cook, and they told everyone that to stay home till May 28th, and they're getting paid.
Yeah.
And they still have their benefits.
Yeah.
And the management there that's not in the union has to go into work. Not that that's funny, but.
Yeah, no, but like that's exactly how it should be. Like if you have the finances and you collectively like have a voice at your workplace, it should be the case that people stay protected during this time in terms of their finances and their health.
Yes. Oh, Hannah. So you've been working at home in a tiny apartment and you have a dog.
Yeah, he's napping.
What's your dog's name?
Oh, this is Pedro Martinez.
Oh, how old is he?
He is, oh my God, is he 2.5? He's 2.5, I think. I'm like calling my husband. My husband was like, any pet that we get has to have the name of Red Sox players from our childhood.
Perfect.
So this is Pedro Martinez. Maybe someday we'll get a Manny Ramirez. We'll see.
Oh.
So,
How is he dealing with working with you every day?
so happy.
Yeah?
So happy. So before this went down, he's like, he is what is called he's very reactive. So he
Okay.
barks at other dogs and some other people, but he also has a lot, like really doesn't like to be separated from us. So
Oh.
right before this all went down, we had like been in a training course with him, and we like finally had a system for like leaving him at home without us. And he was like making progress, but he didn't love it. And now we're just home all the time. And he's like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I feel
Oh.
so safe. I just get to nap and cuddle. Yeah, he's so happy.
I feel like my cats want me to leave.
I've heard that a lot about like cats, and then certain dogs get more anxious having you home all the time because they feel like they need to check up on the humans.
Yeah.
But that's never been his thing. He gets very upset when he's home alone, but he's very happy when we're here, and he just wants to nap and.
That's awesome. My cats drive me freaking nuts. I love them. They're great, but oh my God, like I was in a Zoom board meeting last night. So I do my Zoom meetings from work in my attic. There's a microwave and a mini fridge in my attic, so that's my background. I don't like changing my Zoom background because I just don't. But I do like to hide the microwave because I feel like it just looks weird that I have a microwave. So I threw a scarf over it, to make it look cute, make it fashion. And I'm like sitting there in the board meeting, and then the cats start fighting and running, and they run up on the microwave and take the scarf down. And they're just like watching in the Zoom camera. It's just like, boom, microwave.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Yeah,
I need a little break, but I'm happy your dog's good.
Sometimes when I sit in like one different spot, he thinks that it means he's going to get fed. And so he'll be a little like up in my business, which is not great if I'm on a Zoom call. And then it took him like 4 weeks to adjust to me doing yoga in the house. But now he knows to like chill out during that. So
like, what are you doing?
yeah, and he would just like be like pawing at me. Like he'd be like, "What's happening? Why are you moving like this?"
I can't not shout out your shirt. That
2008 Wake Up the Earth Festival.
Yes. So for those of you who are watching from where the heck ever and not Hannah's from Jamaica Plain, right? Or born originally?
I am originally from Jamaica Plain.
Yeah, so am I. There's not a lot of us.
I know.
Together. But Wake Up the Earth is this awesome festival that happens it's like the first Saturday in May. This year they had to not have it. And it's one of the coolest events in JP. It takes over, there's this part called the Southwest Corridor, and it kind of connects all of Boston. It's like a big bike path, but it's a ton of green space, and the Orange Line's there. And it's just live music and art, and I don't know what else, food.
Yeah, food. And just like everyone from JP. I think especially if you grew up there, it's always fun when I go to it and go back to it because it's just like I see all of these people that maybe I haven't seen for years, who are parts of like community organizations or also like my age and grew up there or whatever it might be. So it's really fun.
And it starts with a parade. I forgot that.
Yeah.
It starts with a parade where Center and South Street marches up to like Jackson Square, and Eggleston Square marches up to there, and they meet in the middle. It's really cute.
Yeah.
Do you have a memory? A favorite memory that you can pull out of the top of your head?
God, I don't know if I have a favorite memory because I feel like it's just like the vibe. Like it's just like that, like, I don't know. It just feels really like warm and fun and totally fits with like my parents' own like hippie community thing. So Yeah, I think just like getting to go every year and seeing people and just like it's one of the things where it like really feels like JP is home when that's happening.
Oh, my dad has just commented that our lockdown in Boston has been extended to May 18th.
Okay.
That sounds really soon.
That's true. I mean, that's not like a full month at this point.
No.
So that's movement.
I don't know how this is all going to work, honestly, because the kids are out of school completely. School's closed. The school is supposed to go till June 21st. So I don't know how they're going to like have the parents be whatever. I don't understand. Also, my show is going until May 20th, so maybe we can chill out. What do you miss most about Boston?
Oh, what do I miss most about Boston? I mean, I think it's like most of my family still lives in Boston. So I miss being able to see my family all the time and not having to travel so far to see them and for them to see me.
Have you been talking to them and Zooming and stuff?
Yeah, we've been doing some family game nights. So we've been doing that. That's like that. Yeah, mostly we're getting together to like do some games and talk a little bit.
Good. You have a ginormous family.
Yes, I do. There are like many cousins. We all grew up in the Boston area, but many of us grew up within like a 5-block radius from each other.
It's wild.
When I came back to Boston after college and it was funny to come back because I lived in JP with like people our age who had like come to live in JP as adults as like a cool thing. You know, it was like, you know, deep into the gentrification of JP. I mean, my parents will totally readily admit they're like, we were the first wave of gentrification. We shouldn't deny it. Like that was us. But to move in with like other people in their 20s or early 30s was an experience. But anyway, when they like met all my family and started like learning about all my family, they were like, you guys are like the JP Mafia. Like there are so many of you. You're like involved in so many things. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
You were up in like the Hyde Square almost area, and I grew up down on the South Street, which is separate somehow when we were children.
I know. Yeah, that was actually one of the
Even
funny
the soccer teams were separate.
Totally. One of the funny things about moving to LA is that I feel like people do not have that kind of like very intense and very separated like neighborhood and even like within neighborhood pride that like definitely people in Boston have, where it's like not only am I like from JP, but like you and I can be like, oh, but we were from different parts of JP or whatever. And people in LA, I'll be like, oh, like, so where did you grow up? And they're like, you know, LA. And I'm like, how does it not matter to you? What part or whatever? So.
No, it's like if you meet someone who's from JP, or like, you know, originally, you're like, okay, what part? Like Forest Hills, Eggy, Hyde, Jackson, like Center South, like
Right.
Pond.
Yeah.
So what do you miss most about before all this in general?
I feel like I really miss going to restaurants and bars, I think. I mean, like definitely like and just generally interacting with other people, but I feel that like, you know, because we live in a small apartment, it's kind of like we would go out, we would sit with each other, there would be kind of like, you know, room to spread out and not screens everywhere or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I miss that. I miss getting to go to a dog park with my dog.
Oh, you can't do that?
No, the parks are all closed in LA. People were crowding them too much.
They didn't do that here, but they're crowding them.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I miss like a lot of things. So
yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. Just going to the gym, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
We were hanging out on Saturday. My dad is considered part of the quarantine allowed people
Got it.
in my house. So he came by on Saturday and we're like out on the porch having a couple of beers. We're like, oh man, this almost feels normal. Except right now is the part where we would get up and leave and go to Galway.
Yeah.
and finish the rest of the night. But
Yeah.
nope, we're stuck.
Yeah.
So, have you been watching any TV, or reading books, listening to music? What kind of media have you been consuming to pass the time to suggest to everyone watching?
I feel like I've been watching like random TV. I'm not sure if I would recommend anything. I'm actually, I feel like
I was going to say that.
maybe we should take this conversation offline, but like Ted, my husband and I, we tried to start watching Tiger King or whatever it's called. And we got like 25 minutes in and we were like, this is too sad. We can't do it.
It is sad. The woman in that show needed a union.
But I've been like reading. I don't know. I feel like things are not like I'm not being as absorbed as I want to be. So I don't know. I'm thinking of doing like some rewatching or rereading of like old things. So I was thinking of like going back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I haven't watched in a little while.
Did you just recently hear that Dolly Parton was a secret producer of that show?
What?
Yeah. I hope I'm not spreading fake news. I haven't done my full research, but I saw it come up on a couple of feeds, and I was like, no way.
I hope it's true. You know what? I don't want to
Google after this.
I want to believe it's true.
That's what I heard.
So yeah, I'm trying to think of like anything else that I would actually recommend. I read Anne Patchett's newer novel, The Dutch House, which I thought was very good. But yeah, we're just kind of like, we'll throw on anything. There's a lot of like reality TV happening, just like going back to like Top Chef that we didn't watch, or like Project Runway seasons that we didn't watch. So yeah, that's what we're up to.
My cat's being super annoying. Sorry. Pickle, stop. Oh my god, Pickle. This is Pickle. She's annoying.
Oh.
She was like clawing at me from off screen. For those of you keeping score at home, I still am unable to consume media. I can't. The extent of my media consumption it's like been 8 weeks we've been locked down, has been TikTok, which is terrible. It's terrible. But so TikTok, and we watched the Post Malone, who I'm not normally a fan of. He did a Nirvana tribute concert with Travis Barker on drums.
Ooh.
And that was awesome. So then we were like, oh, concerts are cool. So now we're trying to like find concerts that were previously filmed to like watch. Tonight I'm going to a Dashboard Confessional concert.
Yes.
So I have a date and everything.
You made such a good breakup CD mix when we were in high school that like definitely had Dashboard Confessional.
Did I?
Yes, and actually, I'm pretty sure I can find it because, like everyone else during this pandemic, I've been cleaning, and I found some like huge CD thing that I have. I'll let you know.
Oh my god, we Hannah and I and a group of all of our friends in high school used to just be like totally emo. Sit on Hannah's kitchen floor listening to Ani DeFranco and like crying.
Oh my god, yes. Yes. I was trying to remember because my parents redid their kitchen when we were in college. Did we ever do like and I feel like we talked about it, but before they did that, did we ever do a final, like everyone came over and sat in the
I don't think we did, but I remember talking about it.
I remember talking, yeah.
We're bored together now. Probably drinking too much. That's the thing about Hannah's house, though. We never ever drank or did drugs or anything. It was the most wholesome, pure. We didn't need to.
We just felt our feelings.
Straight up teenager music listening fun.
Yeah.
Pure.
And had Melissa chop off all my hair.
Oh my god, I forgot. There's pictures of that somewhere.
Oh, I kept that haircut like through college. I like a
I love that haircut on you.
And it's really funny. This is like literally the longest my hair I think has been since like grade school because of the pandemic. It just keeps growing. So
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
We were wild. We weren't even like doing any. We weren't like. I remember like your house. I was totally allowed to go to because that was not a troublemaker house.
Yeah, and my parents were just like so nice and chill about everything.
And we would go to chorus in the morning. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Ah, chorus.
Do you still sing?
In the shower.
It's so weird how we dedicated so much of our Saturday morning teenage lives to going to choir practice.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I don't do it at all.
I know. Yeah, me too. I like totally dropped off from that after high school.
Me too. I just show up at karaoke now sometimes.
Nice.
That's about it though. So I ask everyone this because it's helpful to me and it's helpful to people watching, I believe. What have you or have you not been doing for your mental health during all of this?
So I've been doing yoga like every day since our lockdown officially happened. So that's been good. Because I think it's just, I think, for me especially, I mean, it was always good before this. I think in a job where you're so inside your head all the time,
Yeah.
it's really good just to like do something with your body. So that's been good. And, I feel like there have been the waves of eating pretty healthy and then just making an entire batch of chocolate chip cookies I eat by myself. But like I always feel better eating like some greens or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's like been it. And then just trying to stick to a schedule. But I think as I wrote you, that's like way harder than I thought it would be, weirdly.
Do you keep track or do you just go with the flow?
Well, I try. It's just like needing ways to like break up my day in a way, especially because it's like I'm kind of in one room for everything, for work, for eating, for yoga.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how do I differentiate the times of my day? So I try, and I like not that I'm that important, but like as a lawyer, people reach out to you, and you kind of feel like, oh, I could be working at kind of any time. Like I got this email at like 11 p.m. Should I respond? So I think that like taking my dog on a walk before I start working and trying not to work until like 8 a.m. has been good. And then like at the end of the day being like, I'm stopping work and I'm going to do yoga. And that's like the end of my day or the end of my work day has been good. But sometimes things just like come up or I feel lazy or I feel stressed out and it doesn't work out as I planned.
I mean, you're doing better than I am because my end of the day doesn't end. There's just all of a sudden cocktail appears in my hand. But I keep working.
I mean, I'm like, there's definitely some lawyer work you can do with cocktails in hand, but there's some that you cannot. So I try to always be careful.
I'm doing like I don't even know how I fell into doing this in a million years, but like graphic design stuff that I have to do for work.
Cool.
Since now working from home and having some like freedom of choosing when I do things, it is much nicer to do graphic design stuff with a cocktail.
Well, I've joked with some of my colleagues that like, you're writing a brief, the most of it has to be pretty, tight and really just like specific and compelling, but you kind of like need that intro to be like punchy. And I think a lot of people who become lawyers are not like, we're not great like creative writers or like creative people generally. So sometimes you need something to like loosen you up to be like, yeah, Judge, I'm gonna tell you how it is in production. So
I'm sure you nailed that. I can totally see you nailing that. All right, well, the time has come for you to have the final word. For those of you who have never watched this before, I give every guest the opportunity to say whatever the hell they want right at the end of the broadcast. And I put on a new to you pair of sunglasses. I'm running out of sunglasses. And I shut the hell up. So, Hannah, the floor is yours.
I mean, I guess I just have to say, because we were talking about it earlier and I'm like a little bit of an evangelist about it, but just your workplace can always be better. Talk to your coworkers, talk to your friends, get empowered. Like, you have the power. You can make it happen. Don't feel like you need to be stuck in a situation and at the mercy of someone else. So use this time to get on some text chains and figure out how to make your life better. Yeah. That's it. Love those sunglasses. Love the fan, really.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just, I'm dramatic because you're spilling tea. Hannah, thank you so much for being on. I love you.
I love you. This was so fun. It's just like great catching up. That's the other thing. I would say I've had a lot of fun catching up with people I haven't talked to as much in the past years. So it's great.
I'm going to do an off-the-record Zoom chat and listen to that mixed CD I made.
Yes! I'm going to find it.
We'll get Melissa in on it too.
Yes!
Oh my God. So everyone that's watching, there's so many people watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and for commenting and liking and sharing and talking to us about unions. Thank you to all the union workers out there. Thank you to all the future union workers out there. Tomorrow we have a special show because, first of all, it's at 1 p.m., not 12 p.m. So sorry to screw up your day, everybody. I wish. 1 p.m. And it's everyone's favorite former Austin bartender who moved away to Colorado, Dimitri Ballone, and he is in Colorado. And he's an artist and musician and a wild, wild person. And maybe don't let your teenagers or children watch tomorrow's episode because we like to swear a lot. So I hope you will tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. to see me and Dimitri. Otherwise, Hannah, thank you again. I love you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay home, wash your hands, wear a mask. Be healthy. Don't throw your gloves on the ground when you go to the grocery store. And start a union at your job. Bye. See you tomorrow.